Hey, and welcome to another episode of Aging with Audacity on my YouTube channel and podcast. You get to either listen or you can watch on YouTube, whatever really works best for you. In my last video, I did mention how I would be this summer. It's right now, it's January 2025, and this summer I am planning a trip abroad for 3 months because that's as long as I can stay in Portugal on my visitor visa. And I definitely got some questions and comments, and I can see that the idea that for most people is pretty exciting, but a lot of people don't know where to start. And I want to talk about what it means traveling in later life and how to embrace this adventure, which is why I called this new series Aging with Audacity, because the audacity of aging, I just love that idea because that can mean anything to anybody. It doesn't mean you're reckless. It means you're still alive and you're still viable and you still have purpose and meaning and so much life to live. So I think we should have the audacity to age with just complete abandon, right? So today I want to talk about like the excitement and the freedom of travel and what that can bring, whether it's solo with friends or as a couple. It can mean, for me, I mostly travel on my own. And this is not the first time I've done this. So the last time I did it was, I think it was in 2023. I spent 3 months in Portugal, and I have to say, at the end of the 3 months, I was not ready to leave. So I went to Sri Lanka for a month. That's a whole whole 'nother story before I came back to the US. And have found, first of all, there's just a different energy and vibe in Europe, and I can't speak to the rest of the world. I haven't been to Asia. But I'm telling you, and I just love Europe. I love the history. I love the old architecture, the streets, just the way of life is just so different. And, we do have the luxury here in the US of speaking English, which is a language that most people in Europe know. So we are very blessed, although I think it's really respectful to learn at least some the native language of where you're visiting. But I loved it. I found that my life was very different. I was out a lot more. I was using public transportation because I didn't have a car, and I loved that. I loved being able to use public transportation rather than a car, I have to tell you. And it's so easily available in most cities. And I also it was so easy for me to meet people that I'm still in touch with now. Gotta tell you, I had a couple of really good dates too, which I found was easier for me to do that in Portugal as well. So I I just really I just think there's something really magical about having that kind of experience. So I think it's really important to consider where you're going and for how long. And I feel really blessed because I mean, I worked hard for it, but I worked really hard to create a life where I can work remotely and work anywhere. So I don't worry about, as long as there's Wi-Fi, I don't worry about for how long I'm going. I just look at how long do I want to be gone. And with Portugal, 3 months is the visitor visa. So just plan your trip, like, do you wanna do short term? Do you wanna do long term? And look, I don't recommend staying at hotels. I don't feel like you get the true experience, so there's so many ways to find short and long-term rentals, either through Airbnb, and if you look on Facebook, there are tons of groups. I'm in like 3 different WhatsApp groups that every day I get probably 20 messages of short-term rentals available and some long-term, but mostly short-term, and you can stay for a month easily for 1,500 euros. That is unbelievable. So you can really, and you can stay in Lisbon, in near the city center. Again, I'm just talking about Portugal, but wherever you're going, I highly recommend you do a little research and find the find how you can get the best experience living in local areas and not at a hotel. Hotels are fine, but I just don't stay in them when I travel like this. I usually stay in an apartment. And really, there's so much flexibility, and we have to be flexible because we're not going to Target, right? Like, we're not going where you have to, like, let go of, like, your conveniences and really be open to the journey and the new experiences of how you shop. Go to, like, the local stands that have fresh produce. Like, the produce and the food that you can get in Europe is so much better, so much healthier, so much more nutrient dense. They don't have chemicals in their products. It's outlawed, so which it should be here, but that's a whole nother so just consider your budget. You might be surprised that it might be less than you think if you don't stay at a hotel. And, probably the most expensive part will be your flight, but I just use points for my trip. So I upgraded a little in the seat, so I'm paying $159 for a window seat and extra 6 inches of leg room for a red eye. And so fortunately, it's also a direct flight from Philly to Lisbon, so I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get to Philly. But, yeah, I mean, so in advance for your flights and make sure you're getting a good deal and just plan your timing and your budget accordingly. I think it's really important to kinda stretch a little bit and get a little uncomfortable out of your comfort zone, as they say, and try new things when you're traveling abroad. And don't be afraid to meet new people. That is, like, the biggest benefit. I found it so incredibly easy to meet new friends, like I said before. You can go to, again, Facebook has a million Facebook groups, some, like, specifically, again, for Portugal, which I'm sure if you're going somewhere else, they'll have the same thing, expats in Portugal. And literally when you say, "Hey, I'm coming for 2 weeks," everybody's like, "Hey, let's meet up for coffee. Hey, let's meet up for coffee." They're excited to meet you as much as you should be excited to meet them. So, I mean, yes, do some tours, some walking tours is what I would recommend, or there's all different kinds of tours, but so you get the lay of the land, but spend your time meeting people. Exploring the culture, exploring the food. Get you might be looking at some of the food you're like, "What is that?" Just trust me, it's probably delicious in Portugal. They're known for their seafood, and it's amazing. And, like, I love just hopping on a train and going, a couple of stops and seeing what's there. It's so much fun, and I really highly recommend you really try new things because it will enrich your life. So just to kind of wrap this segment up, I want you to embrace the joy of traveling. I want you to enjoy the freedom it feels that you feel when you are in a different culture, in a different area, experiencing new things, meeting new people, taking new adventures. I mean, literally, they're going to enrich your life so much, and you're just going to be so glad that you did it. Again, decide how long you're going to stay. And really, I recommend you staying in with the locals, in an Airbnb, in a neighborhood, get on the Facebook groups, find out, talk, do a little research to find out a bit about the different neighborhoods and really try to stay in a local place. I honestly think this is going to be the biggest blessing, and you might get the bug like I have, where you're just like, how many times can I go to Europe? That's legal. I'm actually in the process of getting my Portuguese citizenship which is why I go to Portugal so often. This will be my fifth trip. Fifth? I think fifth. One, two, three, four. Yeah, five. This will be my fifth trip. So my father was born in Portugal, which is why I tend to go there. but I'm looking forward to also, and I've spent time in Italy, and I can't wait to go back there. I want to explore Spain some more. I want to go to Greece. So my travel is just beginning, and I hope you continue on this journey with me as I share, and I hope you embrace the joy of traveling as well. All right. I look forward to seeing you next week. And don't forget, if you are in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, and you're still dealing with those gnarly symptoms, do not let that stop you. I want you to have an enriched life, and you can't let the symptoms define you or keep you stuck. So I created a course called Thrive Through Menopause, and I kept it really affordable for everyone so that you can start implementing today some things that I did. I'll be 60 next month to basically sail through menopause, and I'm postmenopause now. So I hope you take advantage of that and start implementing some of those things I share with you right away. All right, I'll leave the link below. Take care.